the car or your bling.
The entire metaverse lives only one.
To the entire metaverse lives only one thing.
Disappear for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Disappear for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme, Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme. First, make we see how far your back bend. If you don't know how, get less of a current. Turn your body round like a smoothie or the blend. New dance trend. Style we no borrow, style we no lend. For sure, we no the beg no friend. From in the thing far way back when for the elders and the children. Can't do the thing till they gonna let do it like charge. Back it up in the garage. Make them know we squad living large. Hold a salute every sarge. Disappear for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Disappear for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme, Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme. We like when you shake it. Never gonna DR if you can't fake it. Entire yam, heart and thick. Mama take 9 months to make it. Act like you didn't need Johnny cake before you bake it. Take a pass to the cars, then twerk it. Then your style you can't buy the new market. All of the styling, so pass it, yo. Watch when they blaze it. Have the tremble like we don't tease it. Tell the DJ, rewind it. Bust a sweat and work it. Disappear for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Disappear for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme, Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme. From Baka Jungle all the way to Yabra, Corozal and Dangriga. Check Pamali's sister Julia, teaching the tourists the key kaka. Through the alley and the plaza, go jump past 41-mile marker. If you want something extra, I want you that feel Librata. Pay for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Disappear for a while, but now I am back again, introducing a new style, them call the Ling Bang. I am a musical zen, violating the charts again. Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme, Ling Bang, no matter if you're 50 or 10, Ling Bang. Big bully in a pen, Ling Bang. Rooster or hen, this one, yeah. Creme de la creme.
They say you never miss your water until your well run dry. And overspilled milk, a big man is not supposed to cry. Well then, butter brim, if you're the woman butter brim, them could have charged her for sin. Butter brim, straight cleaning, in sort of fucking. Butter brim, fully they made examine, figure and lose such a sweet browning. Butter brim, now it's the dread she call it when she need sexual healing.
Anyways,
One man lost is another man's gain. If you can't handle the traffic, then stay out the lane. Behind her beautiful smile, she was hiding her pain. You couldn't see the tears due to the falling rain. But with a woman emotion, son, you don't wanna play games. Then got certain moves over, put it to shame. And then you begging and you balling will all be in vain. When I bet you call the next man name. Remember all of the first time you meet it. You have to do that plus much more if you keep it. Candlelight dinner.
Good evening. Welcome once again to our weekly Wednesday broadcast. We're on from 7 Belize time to 9 Belize time. Of course, that is adjusted per time zones. Los Angeles, 2 hours behind, I believe, or is that 1 hour until they fall back? And then the East Coast is then 1 hour ahead until they, or 2 hours ahead until they fall back to 1 hour behind. We maintain our time space, so we're here 7 o'clock. I believe that's middle, it's not East Central Standard Time. We don't count our shows, we make our shows count. Though we do know we've been going on 3 years. April coming will make it 3 years exactly, as our good friend Gregory Morrison likes to remind us. He will be on shortly, coming from Los Angeles. We normally have Joe Coe from Belize City also. And of course, everything is orchestrated. All the buttons are pushed up there in New York City by our guy, CY, Clinton Young, artist extraordinaire, running things up there and getting things together, setting everything in place. We are a non-profit. We don't solicit as such publicly, but we do require a little something to keep things going. So if at any point you like the show and you want to participate in any way, whether you want to donate a little something or help us with a little equipment or something to that effect, feel free. We have some exciting guests from all walks of life. Tonight we're expecting 2 dynamic ladies. They should be on momentarily. And speak of the angel and the girl appears. Penny Cass, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Yes,
Oh,
man.
good.
The mic
Oh,
is
yeah.
working. The mic is working well. The camera is looking well too. You're
Thank you.
looking all spiffy.
Try real hard.
You look like you've been to Mapi. No. Anyway, hello to our friend Mapi. Gregory is in the house. Hi, Greg.
Good evening, and good evening, Ms.
Good
Casasola.
evening, Mr. Morrison.
All right.
I've
Penny.
heard so much about you. I'm glad we're getting the opportunity to talk with you this evening.
Yeah.
Penny, get that from me, will you please? Tell him I'm not in.
Hello.
Yeah. Penny, listen. We're here for 2 hours. We had scheduled to get Diane on. If she comes on in the first hour, we can all chat together. If not, then we could talk about. We know that either of you ladies could fill a show easily. I mean, and have us wanting for overtime. But the scheduling kind of messed up there for a while, and we want you on more often. We don't want you one time because there's so many issues to discuss, in particular as it pertains to the next generation. And you have been involved. You're involved earlier than most. Tell us about Penny. Well, we know that you're a midwife and have been doing that for some time.
I'm a retired midwife, actually.
Okay, so you're not delivering any babies again.
No, I'm not.
Of course, if it's a pass and house and hair and lady the ball, and you wouldn't
Call
hesitate.
911. Call 911.
No, you're not that kind of person, Penny. We know you did you keep count how many?
It has caught. I got caught in that, So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Well, you had to do an emergency.
Yes.
And
Twice.
did you
Twice
tell
in Belize twice.
did you tell the lady to call 191?
No, because
You sprang
it
into action.
was
Tell the truth.
always my concern, and I used to say, I just pray nobody call me. So one day a child met me on Vernon Street and said, "Mama want to talk to you." And I say, "Where am I there?" Right at the gate. I said, "Oh, good, I clear." When I get to the gate, they say, "My sister, they have baby inside and they make
Oh.
it reach."
You would
That's
think
how
you're
I-
clear.
That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you keep count? How many?
After the first 100, no. We used to have way back when in the 60s, we had a log, a book log.
Uh-huh.
And after that one was completed, I wasn't going to buy another book. And we were going into electronics anyway, paperless records. So I said, if anybody wanted to know if I deliver them, they just have to go into medical records. They'd find out. But
And
recently, I've met quite a few people in this year. A young lady at Boom at Black Orchid, my favorite spot, Black Orchid Jazz Ensemble on Sunday. And she said, "You delivered my firstborn 55 years ago." So,
Wow.
and that was in Belize. So I've delivered in England, New York, Florida, and Belize.
All right. And as far as Belize, you delivered it just Belize City, or did you travel throughout the country?
Belize City at the old Belize Hospital.
Okay.
And two in the homes that
Oh.
weren't planned.
Approximately. And you stop at the first 100, but did you go hundreds after that, or just a few over that 100?
Oh, many more than that. Many more. I don't count.
Okay. You think you pass 1,000?
Possibly because it's been
Right.
years.
Yeah. Have you met anybody and that you, when they introduce themselves, you realize, oh, this name sounds familiar. This is somebody that I delivered.
Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
Actually, a young man came from America and came to visit me on his 50th birthday. He was one of my Belize deliverers. And I was at a health fair at Wesley Church one day. And a young man came and he said, "That's my mother." And she said, "You delivered me 50 years ago." So I meet people all the time. Most times I meet the mothers, but rarely I get the pleasure of meeting the children who I delivered.
I don't know. Is that something that
You know, I
mother-
need to rephrase that. The children I received, it's the mothers who do the delivery, not the healthcare provider.
Yeah,
We receive the babies, the mothers deliver them.
yeah, but come on now. Yeah, the mothers indeed, we know that, but without the help there, they'd be in some trouble, don't
Yeah,
you think?
but we have to give credit where credit is due. We not do the work. We only receive.
Yeah, we can't. You can't. Well, you know, carry on for 9 months for sure.
No push.
Yeah.
No
Well,
feel the contractions.
and I see Diane is in. Hi, Diane. Good evening.
Hi, good night.
Good
Um,
evening.
You can hear me clearly?
Clearly, quite clearly.
Hi,
Yeah.
Miss Jenny. Good night,
Hi, Dan.
everyone.
I
All
meet
right.
you again. I think I met you this week and I can't remember where.
Diane.
Last week. Somewhere last week. We passed each other and I can't remember where it was.
You remember
Oh.
where it was, Diane?
No, because if I had seen her, I've known her for many years, so I would have definitely said hi. I'm not sure.
That your fault, Penny, that you should have said hi.
Well,
And I don't-
at 80 years old, you have fantasies too, you know. I was speaking to someone, I was busy with someone, and I remember her putting her hand on me in greeting, and she just passed. So maybe I imagined it, I don't know.
Oh, okay. We're good at that. Diane, a feedback coming from somebody. Hello. All right. Is that better now? Yeah, Diane. We talked to Penny about Penny's a midwife, but
Retired.
I'm sorry, retired midwife. But both of you have dealt with young people basically for many years. Right now, we're looking at a next generation. You guys have hope. Are you seeing good things ahead, or are we in for some troubled waters? Either one. Penny?
Let me tell you. For a very long time, we have not valued one of the links in the equation, the role of the man, the role of the fathers. And this year's World Breastfeeding Week talks about closing the gap and providing support, breastfeeding support for all. One of the biggest gaps is that the way we treat men, when it comes to childbearing is almost like throw your seed there and then go about your business, and we don't want to hear from you. But if you not show up, I'll curse you. And I think it's so unfair for us to add to diminish the role of the fathers, because the studies show, and I can quote Patrick Hauser and many other research um, professors and individuals who have done extensive research about when a child is born and the father is there and that relationship is established at birth or even during the pregnancy, um, those children have a better chance of growing up with the standards of the home, the love, the touching, the very important touching, holding, doing skin to skin, because it does so many things besides just the behavior of that individual. It talks about the nourishment. The nutrition is triggered by holding that baby skin to skin. Part of the nutrition is triggered by the baby being born. But the food is there before the baby is delivered. And it's one of the missing links that people don't give recognition to, that they think that milk comes in after the birth. No, milk is there from the 16th week of the pregnancy. So nurturing and nourishing starts during the pregnancy from both parents. The baby comes out and should go skin to skin with the mother until that first food, until the first latch on the breast and feeds, and then after that, regular feeding on demand for the first 6 months, exclusive breastfeeding.
So where do the milk that comes up before that time? You said for 16 weeks. Well, where do
It's
that
stored,
milk
it's
there?
stored in the breast. The milk is not released. It's called
So
colostrum.
that's why the breast tends to get bigger.
Part of the reason why, because it becomes like a factory. Yes, there's a lot of activity going on in there, and,
Well,
and that's one of the signals, is that it increases in size because more cells are being developed and enlarged to
Well,
accommodate.
I imagine Dan might want to jump in here because you talk about the role of the father, which is the ideal to have the father there also, but that's not the reality that we're facing with today. There have a lot of fathers have been missing, and I don't know if they're only that they are being pushed away, but many have walked away, and we do know that.
Walked away
Diane,
because they don't understand their role, and maybe they have not seen it in their lives. So we have a responsibility to duly care for every individual and not to exclude any, include all. We
And
cannot use it as an excuse anymore because we have failed the family. And I'm talking culturally.
uh, anyway, that one dismal view, and I don't know how I approach that. Diane, come in, Diane. Let me go hear from you because you work with the young people a lot, correct?
yes, and I may differ in some ways with that response, because I've had the privilege of working with many young men who, uh, I must say, society often casts in one of those same brackets as irresponsible, don't care, um, because they've faced challenges in their own lives. They aren't capable of making responsible decisions, that they aren't emotional,
Mhm,
that their souls
mhm.
are uh,
Marred.
yes. But I've heard I've the apprenticeship program was one of a blessing to young people, because what it did, it gave each individual a voice and made sure that every single individual who walked this into that setting knew their worth and value, and that they could have approached me no matter what. And so, you know, they would talk about the challenges they face with their partners, the challenges of them ready to settle down, but young girls are still on that high of wanting to live that double life of having kids but still partying, still being out there. And in most cases, and I'm only speaking from that circle that I was a part of, the majority of them stayed home and care for their babies while their partners were out, while they were working. One of the first things I would do when I started the apprenticeship program was I'd ask, who has a case at family court? Reference the child, the father or mother of their child. Well,
Let me interject for a minute. Here's what we do, Dan. Let us speak to you. Cass, make we talk to you, Penny, on the second half primarily. We're going to talk to Diane on the first half primarily because we got a lot of things we need to talk. Like I said, either of you could have filled this full 2 hours easily, but we had scheduled both of you, and I'm kind of like only mix up, right? But I want to invite both of you back at some point. But make we deal with the first hour with Diane and Penny. You just sit down, and if you got anything that you want talk about, jump in.
May I just say something though? I totally agree with Diane. Totally agree. We are not differing. We are totally agreeing on that.
That what? Sum that up. That she's saying
that there are men out there who are invested and doing the right thing.
All right, yeah, but you think there's a appropriate portion of the men that are doing this? I mean, because if that's the case, then
we haven't done a research to find out.
Well, we've done informal surveys, if you will.
I don't think we need to do a research to find that out. You see, and I guess that is why people consider me so controversial or toss me in a bracket of just on the side alone, because we're investing so much money bringing in these consultants to investigate and research, and their research does not tap into the real core of individuals that should be interviewed, that truly has the response to what would make what they are being paid for crucial enough for them to start to invest into. They overlook that circle completely and come up with all these statistics and numbers and things. And I want to know, who are these people? Because I'm faced with a group of people who are telling you the reality is this. So instead of investing that money in those researches
and researchers,
exactly, invest it in programs such as the apprenticeship program, where you will get the statistics you need, because these young people aren't.
Well, maybe I shouldn't say research. Maybe I should say documentation. Do we keep records, and do we share the records so that everybody understands the vital role of the apprenticeship program across the board?
I think I've done so many interviews from 2010 to 2020 that if nobody has picked up on what is necessary in this country, it's because they don't care.
Okay. Can I ask a question? Why is it? I need to ask a question. Why is it then, in certain settings, I'm not going to call names, they have strict rules like visiting hours begins at, the father is not allowed to visit the maternity unit, and is not allowed to stay in the delivery, stay overnight, though his wife had a C-section and she needs the help. lying flat on her back. She had spinal anesthesia, and the father is saying, go home. A woman can come in and stay with you, but a man can't.
I was at the hospital last night because my girlfriend just had a baby, and I saw one of the things that I saw was that there were no men in the ward, but there was one bed where there was a gentleman. And I know for a fact that her husband, her partner, has been at her side from the time she
And
went
was
in.
allowed to be in there.
And yes, and the other
And you're
gentleman
talking
that
about,
was
you're
there
talking about private hospital. Though.
no, it's at
Oh.
KHMH.
Oh, all
And
right.
the
Okay.
other lady that had a baby, her partner was also there. And I was just
Around the clock?
admiring.
Around the clock? Overnight?
Well, it's just no. Just that
visiting
period of
hours.
time that I was
Visiting
there.
hours.
Afterwards, I saw him left. So I don't know what the
Visiting hours.
rules are.
That's my
But
point.
again,
That's my point.
No, but you wouldn't want the father
Again-
there around the clock, though.
No, you can.
Well,
I when I when
If you were
when
the
my
woman, you would, because you're talking about them going home and then
But
not
somebody
having.
has to be taking care of the home. There might be other kids involved.
but in the United States, I've been able to stay with my wife at the hospital
in the private
for whatever
hospitals
time-
in Belize too.
Yeah,
Wrong the
at
clock.
whatever duration.
So what
of
happened to
time.
bonding? So what happened to the father bonding with the child in the first 24 hours?
Absolutely. That is part of
and
the
this
point.
is why I say that the professionals like Penny and nurses within the system ought to be that voice lobbying on behalf of these men,
If I was
because-
Claire close you, I'd hug you and kiss you, darling.
because they
That is the point.
they are the ones who are seeing the absence of the partners. They are the ones who know that the nurse may not need to come and pull the thing with the IV, because the partner can do that and help in changing the baby. And just like what you said, Lisa, is it Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just as what you said, this is where the bonding starts, because when that baby opens his or her eyes, he sees dad and mom.
Amen.
That ought to be the beginning of creating that family atmosphere. If
Thank
he
you.
disappears
Thank you.
after, it does not matter, because he knows there is a dad.
Well, the studies
But
show
if
that
you
once
open
he's
your
there
eyes-
at that birth, he will never ever abandon that child.
If he's there at birth, he will not abandon the child. But if he's not there at birth, he just might.
So
I'm
let
not
me-
saying
let
that.
me-
I'm not saying that. I'm saying sometimes the relationship bonding is delayed if he's not there at birth.
Let me continue with what I was saying,
Yeah.
G Mike, where the issue of family court and these young women and women on a whole would take their partners to family court. So in my session, I want to know why you're taking your partner to family court. And in every single response, it is about I, and I have not heard why it has to be done, because my child is priority. It is more about I. And so I say to them, withdraw the cases. Go to family court and withdraw it. One, because it's obvious you're bitter. He left you and you're mad. Let him go. Send him a letter stating, thank you for the blessing you left me with. And they are like, what blessing? What gift? I said, your baby. Some men, if they see you doing their part, they step in. But you can't just always want. And every time he comes to visit. He sees the baby with the pampers wet up, the child not being, maybe with a bag of chips, the child not clothed properly. You have to show that you are a responsible parent, and that partner is going to step in. And then it goes now to the men. And these are young boys between the age of 17 to 31. That was the group that I dealt with. And they would say, like, they come home from work, nothing to eat. It's nag, nag, nag. She wants to be at the neighbor's house. I am at home. I get home. It is text. So men have concerns, but who takes the opportunity to listen to them?
And
Who takes the opportunity to say, let me hear from them?
let's
You understand? Let
give
me
us-
hear their voice.
give us a background of the apprenticeship program. Well, how did it start?
Okay.
What was the rationale? What was it about?
The apprenticeship program focused on young people who are dropped out of school, young people who have had contact with the law, and single mothers. That was the essence of the program. So what it did, we made sure we put those young people back into school. And so let me just show you this here, if you can see it. And so this is a University of Belize graduate, and he said, "Morning, Miss D. Hoping all is well your side. Just want to express my gratitude to you. Thanks for starting and spearheading a dream. I made it. Definitely wouldn't be possible without you." He today holds a bachelor's degree in business from UB. Started with nothing. So I will show you this. And these are 3 certificates. Gwen Liz, associate's degree, UB, bachelor's degree, UB. This young lady in particular dropped out at standard 3. Today, she's pursuing her master's degree at Galen University. My thing was, everything is possible as long as you have someone to motivate you to become your greater self. So I lobbied with the Ministry of Education to make sure, because these apprentices were getting $100 a week. You can't pay school fees out of that. So it was mandatory for the Ministry of Education to pay their tuition in order for them to go back to school. All these young, go ahead.
When did the program start?
It started in 2010. And in 2020, when the PUP got in, they terminated it. There's a young man, let me tell you something about this guy, G. Mike. I met him when I went to court to see about another case, and he was on his way to prison. I asked the chief magistrate if she would trust me and release him in my custody, and I would make sure I report to the court every month. But I promise you, he is going to become a productive young man in society. So she said, okay, and every month you must report. He went back to school, got his high school diploma, and I said to him, I asked, what it is that you have always dreamt about becoming before you fell? And he said, I want to be an attorney. I said, I'll get you there. Today, he has an associate's degree in paralegal studies, but the program no longer exists, and nobody has reached out to him to say, I've got to push you to become. I'm going to give you a scholarship and send you to study. He's right there. So I signed up for a mediation training, to become a certified mediator at UWI. And they called his name. So I said, there's only one person I know with that name. I stood up in class and I was very emotional. And I said, listen, you see what I tell you about treating people good? Who would have said you, who was going to prison, would have been at the University of West Indies doing a course with me? And we graduated together. I said, you see what I tell you? There's no such thing that because you fell, you cannot become your greater self.
Now you're telling us that after 2020, when the PUP came into office, the program was discontinued. Was there anything that took its place? Is there some other program that does this a similar thing, or have you been recruited to act in a capacity anywhere near to what you were doing in that program?
The sad thing about politics is that it divides and it does not focus on who can make a difference, but it focuses more on I've got to make sure that my circle, my core, and I'm talking both parties.
Yeah, with both parties, yeah.
My circle, my core get what they need to get. You understand? And so, no, nobody has recruited me. I've spoken to Minister Karim personally and volunteered myself to work with the LIU. Said he would get back in touch with me. Up to this date, not a word, not a text, nothing. So I stepped back because I know I've done my part. The evidence is there of the young people who have excelled through I leave my home at 4:30 every morning to go and work out. And I'm not scared of the darkness heading towards Memorial Park because the street is loaded with so many young people from the apprenticeship program who are working at the call center. They could not have worked there if they did not have a high school diploma.
Is that a prerequisite? Do you have to have a,
Yes. And so it is always, Miss D, morning. And so all I do is give thanks and ask the Father to protect and guide them. Every single one that I meet, I let them know how proud I am of them and that they must continue to climb that ladder.
Good evening. I wanted to say, when you indicated that after the government had changed, the program has disappeared. Do you know if there's any outreach to kind of engage them with a similar type program? Because the needs is definitely there for sort of a apprenticeship program.
I think there are splinters of initiatives happening, but it's nothing compared to the apprenticeship program. And I will boast and brag about it because my youths worked 4 days per week, Monday to Thursday, but it was mandatory on Friday that we all get together. 150 young people come together and we have motivational talks I would bring in a finance advisor. I bring in someone from the insurance company, from the medical field, breast um, care, STDs, HIV. It is their time to educate them across the board of the issues affecting them as young people and as human beings. So they left well skilled and knowledgeable of,
Isn't
like one day
isn't the LIU a similar type of
sorry.
program though? Isn't the LIU a similar type of program that's going on now where they take disadvantaged youth and put them to do a little something like cleaning the drain and chopping the yards and whatnot? How is it different from the apprenticeship program that you had?
Well, you see, G Mike, I'll give you one example and I'll go back to that. I had a cleaner who cleaned the building for the apprenticeship program. So I put her back in school. When she graduated, I said, "You are terminated as the cleaner of this building. You're going to sit at the desk and you're going to become the receptionist." "Miss, but I like what." "No, you've graduated from that. So now you're climbing. I'm getting another cleaner, but you're starting off as the receptionist." She has a full time job at the Department of Youth Service today. And I'm saying that because you know why gang and the crime will never end? Because that's all they see in these young men, that they only can clean drain and be in the sun hot, uh, fixing the streets. Some of those young men have associate's degree. But if you, G Mike, don't take Henry Brown and say, "Listen to me, Miss Finnegan, you own this company. I'm asking you, give Henry a chance. Yes, he used to gang bang. Yes, he used to be this and that. But I am telling you, he's no longer living that lifestyle. If you give him that opportunity, he will manifest his greatness." If they don't have that kind of person in their life, they will continue to clean the streets. And what happens when no more streets not there to be clean? They
But they
get
have
free.
don't but they have a responsibility also though to take the little resources they get and maybe enter class somewhere, get some further education. Don't you think? Can we hold their hands all the way through the process, or should we expect
Do
something
you
from them?
know? Do you know what it takes to mentor someone who dropped out from standard 3 to go back to school? Do you know what it takes to tell a young man who is used to selling his weed and getting that quick money, and tell him, "Okay, put a pause because now you have to do a 360 and you're going back to school and you're going to start at the bottom." You can't do that. It's
So
not that easy.
so what's the answer? I mean, how do you approach that situation there? That the scenario that you paint, I mean, there must be some way out of that. And what are you saying? What should we do then? When you meet a person like
Because
that, what do you do?
because what exists is 8 to 5 jobs.
Right.
After 5, it's not my business. If I was running LIU, Bobo for sure would not be dead. One of the things I made sure with the apprenticeship program is that every single young person got an ATM card. That was a part of their dignity, to be able to go to the ATM and press them button and get out their money. I am not going to be paying you. No, those days are over. You you have to give them that sense of responsibility
Sense
and
of empowerment.
pride and self-worth, that they are deserving of greatness. You understand? And so you set the table for them to enjoy the feast. Now, if
I
they
was
throw away the food
I
and
was
waste it,
listening. I was listening to the radio the other day, and a person called up, and actually Nur Muhammad was the host, and he was talking to him about the same thing with problems with the young people, and he asked him, "How long have you been working with these youth?" And he said, "Over 40 years," and he named a few places that it was, and the guy said, "Well, would you then consider what you have done successful?" I'm saying to you, he's been around for a while. He's now in that. Was he in the apprenticeship program with you also? Because he seems to have worked under both governments, and has the efforts that has been put in been successful as it's shown. You mentioned a couple of people, and he might have a couple of people to show also. But has it overall been a success? What we have tried to do with these young people?
well, I can say that where the apprenticeship program is concerned, the young people who have graduated from 2010 to 2020, I have not seen them involved in negativity. I am so attentive to them that even when they are on Facebook and I hear them start with the vulgar language or saying certain things or posting certain things, I go in their inbox and message them and I say, take that down. Does that reflect who you are? Because what we have to remember, guys, is that we are on the outside, and these are individuals who lost their way for so long. But we can't expect that in 1 year, 2 year, they are going to become this great individual, because no one's paving the way for them to get to where they ought to be. So those who take the time to mentor to them have to do it 24/7. Nuri was not a part of the apprenticeship program, but he, Chester, and myself, because of the fact that I had lost so many young people to crime and violence, I saw the need to bring into Belize a reform gang leader. That was when Jawi came. And my message to the nation was that organization Restore Belize, all of them, they get millions of dollars for citizen security in the name of gangs, in the name of young people, but the money never reaches them. And I wanted to show them that with $100,000, I would be able to calm the storm of crime and violence. Nuri, myself, and Chester, the three of us work hard, not 8 to 5, 24/7, Sunday to Sunday. We work so hard with those young people that
Would you say you won the bet? Did you calm the storm?
won it.
But then
Go back to
why are we still hearing complaints about all the crime and
You
problems
know
that we're still
why?
facing now?
Because if you go back to 2017, 18, G Mike, there were no gun violence, no crime committed by any gang member. But what they did, they
You,
made the move to move
2017?
2017, 2018. That was when the reform gang leader came to Belize for 6 months and worked with those with all.
And
Remember we did the peace walk?
you're saying during those years there were no gang murders?
No. Within the 6 months that he was in Belize,
Yes.
there was none.
Okay, I
What
have to go research.
happened? What happened? They decided to move Chester. Go back and recall. Remember, he had gotten a desk job in Belmopan, and they brought in Vidal.
Okay.
Remember,
I vaguely
under
remember.
the under the Barrow administration, they brought in Vidal, and when Vidal came in, he started to torture the different communities. If you will recall, one of those specific place was Taylor's Alley, when they did a search and they had the young men them on the hot stones laying down there, and they called me. I went out there. The media was out there, and I told them the end result is going to be that these guys, because they can't fight against the law, so who you think they will fight against? Each other. The war is going to start again. And it did. It did. Because at the end of the day, when you have peace in a country, there's no money flowing for citizen security because the country is calm. You need things and you need that money to start to come back in because that's what you eat off of. You understand? They don't really care about these young men, and they don't really care if they kill up themselves. You understand? That's the bottom line. Because what we were doing, the three of us, and both Chester and Nuri can tell you, there were like 20 odd volunteers who came and said, I want to be a part of this. I want, and every single day, 2 drop, 3 drop. You have to really want to tap into the souls of these individuals to say you're willing to give of yourself and help them. And when I tell you,
what you have
let's
painted,
go back
though,
to them. Go ahead. Go ahead.
what you have painted though is a very sinister picture that probably governments in their own is not too concerned about the stopping the gang violence, because then the money that they are able to get in that name stops, because the funding
And
that they
I
could go out and
boldly
present.
say, I boldly say that is the reality. That is the reality. You know, it was none of the money I got, the 100,000, came from the government. It was all the business sector that gave $10,000 here, 10,000 there, in order to come up with the 100,000 to pay to Jawi for the work he had done in Belize. None came from the government. And they ought to have been the first source to say, I'll give you that $100,000. You understand? That is to show you where their priorities are. Because I should not have to go and beg for something that is going to create safety for
On
even
the
you,
same But on
Minister
the
of
same
Government.
hand, I remember government was paying gang members a stipend not to go out and fight against each other for the most part. So
Both.
yes,
Both do it.
yes.
Did it work? Did it
Well,
work? No.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
but
spoke
then,
out against that.
but that
I
100,000
spoke
that
out
you're
against
talking about went for that
Uh-huh.
purpose, didn't it?
No, that went for the paying for the guy to come and
the
stay in
guy.
Belize for the 6
So-
months.
He got 100,000 for doing that.
No, it consisted of paying his rent, transportation, a place like the Toyota place. What's its name?
The rental company,
On Freetown.
car rental.
Toyota. No, beside Love FM. What's the Belize Diesel?
Okay. The dealership, yeah.
He donated a vehicle so that this young man could have had transportation throughout that period. So he didn't give money, but he donated a vehicle so that he could have had transportation throughout the period. So people within society really saw the need to reduce crime and violence, and they were prepared to invest in it. And I'm saying it should not be that way. It should have been the government who should have said, you know what, let's do whatever it takes to
So
end this crime
this
and violence.
this reform gang person came in for 6 months, and you think that
Yes,
that money was well spent, that he did a lot during that time, that he really turned it
yes,
all around? Uh,
yes. Um, I don't know how much you know about the gang life, but and I'm not going to be here to reveal certain things, but um, there are occasions, anniversary, death anniversary, a birthday, uh, things that they recall this person was all about. It's just like when you lose a loved one, and you just find yourself crying because you miss them so much and they had such an impact on your life. Theirs is different because, boy, tomorrow, the Fred anniversary death, and be 2 years, 3 years, 10 years that he dead. So we set up with domino, we get with weed thing, we get with liquor and so. And what happened in the midst of that and the telling of stories and whatnot, the blood start flowing and they start remembering. And what happens? You go for your target, you go for who stole one of my guys. You understand? They forget. And one of the things that Jawi had them remember is that they signed on to death and prison. Those are the two things they signed on to. And that no matter what, you are going to lose one of your homies because that's the name of the game. It was such a powerful uh, daily session with these guys and Jawi that we had invited the media because they were concerned about, whether it's working. We invited people to sit into sessions and actually hear what was taking place and
Dan,
how powerful it
we
was.
we know that just like the political parties, you have two sides to the gangs, the red and the blue. Basically, that's what it breaks down to. You have different sects and whatnot.
Exactly.
How did he handle that?
Exactly.
How did he approach that? How did Yahweh approach that? The gentleman's name is Yahweh. Yahweh said, I'm not familiar with him actually.
Jawi.
Jawi.
Jawi. Jawi.
How did he
Um,
approach that, or did he just work with one group?
no, it was amazing because he's Bloods. And he told them, I'm Bloods for life. That is who I am. That is what I sign on to. The difference is that when I approach those guys now, I approach them talking to them about the changes I have made in my life and why it's crucial for you to end what you're doing, because he was on the FBI most wanted. He has been to prison so many times. He has gotten shot so many times. He started off at the age of 9. So he had a story to tell. And you know why it worked? Because he was one of them and they could see through him. It's different than if me and you go and talk. We can only speak on saying you have to end the crime and violence because you're hurting people. But we are not them. So, and we can't feel their soul because we aren't a part of that. But Jawi, who lived their life, read them. And he could have connected with them and they with him. I'll tell you one incident that happened, Jawi. We were at Old Belize where we did the sessions, and it was, let's say it's 10 o'clock, and Jawi asked for his medication. So the guys got curious. What are you taking? And he said, I suffer from PTSD. And the guy said, what is that? He explained to them what is the PTSD, and this is from his gang life. So one of the guys from one of the gang neighborhoods, he said, Sir, give me one of your pills. He said, because I love my woman, but you know how much time I end up on lockdown? Because when sometime at night, she'd have come close to me. And when she come close to me, I want bitch licky to get, because he's paranoid, thinking that maybe it's an enemy approaching him. They're messed up mentally because of all that they have lived and seen. But we only focus on seeing them go work on the streets. Nobody, you know who is an exceptional neurologist? Dr. Cervantes. We made sure we brought him in to talk to these guys. He assisted some of them. Nobody's looking at it at that angle.
Diane,
Their souls are stuck.
you know though that if there's one thing these guys got, a good game, tile game, they will game you.
Is what?
Game. They will play
Of course.
games. All right. So now, how do you differentiate between a person who's playing a game and somebody who is serious about getting back on the right track? Because you said you put them on the right track. And this guy came in and you spent the money and got them on the right track. But we look at things the way it is now, and I can't believe it's only a change of government that caused it to be this way.
You see, G Mike, you have to connect. It's a full circle, and you have to connect all the dots. It's not just about talk. It's about putting the different measures in place. It's about bringing the key people to address the concerns of these individuals. I am not a part of that life. I'm a motivational speaker. I can talk and I can share my soul with you, but that is not enough. You have Chester, who is the law, and Chester will talk about what are the consequences if XYZ should happen. You have Nuri, who's been doing this for so many years, who has that international experience and who can talk to the guys about the consequences of their actions and why it is crucial to walk the right path. It's a combination of so many things. It's about getting all involved and showing that you care enough. We also had the grieving mothers do a session with them. You are responsible for the death of my son, but I'm telling you, I've forgiven you. I want you to change your life. It's not just bringing in a reform gang leader, Jawi. It's not, G Mike. It's not just paying them a salary. If they don't know how to, my youths used to get $100 a week, and then they'd rail up and they say, Miss, you can't do nothing with 100. I say, well, I could pay you 1,000 a week. But if you don't know how to budget 100, just imagine what you'll do with 1,000. So it's guidance to get it's like you're breastfeeding all along, all over again, and then you have to wean them off the breast so that they start crawling.
What do you do?
Walking.
What do you do
And
with
that
those?
doesn't take 6 months.
What do
Go
you
ahead.
do? What do you do with those who obviously are not willing to change from that style of life? Because some of them are happy in it, as bad as it is for them. Make no mistake, they glamour in that type of lifestyle. So when you recognize that, and I'm sure you recognize that in a few of them, that you know what, this one, yeah, I can't spend all this time to work on him, and these others over here requires also the attention. What do you do then? I mean, do you push him aside? Do you get him locked up? Do you
No,
give up
you
on
you
him?
hope you hope that when he they see the others moving on and changing, transforming, they'd see the importance of doing that. And then Chester takes over with the law. If you don't, the consequences is going to be prison. And if even when you come out, what else did you sign on to? Debt. It's gonna catch
When
up to you.
Miss Finnegan, in the program you had both boys and girls, right? How did you see
Yes,
the
yes.
difference between the reactions of the young men and the young women in terms of receptiveness and in terms of outcome?
Well, the program had rules, and one of the rules was you couldn't date each other in the program because we considered each other brothers and sisters in the program. So when I find out now that, because they're young people, they'll do their thing and sneak around and whatnot. So when I find out that they are dating, I take my guys and I take them to Cosmetic Corner. And the Cosmetic Corner is where they sell all the little cosmetic things. So, and I'd park right on the side, and I said, "You see where your $100 that you work hard for going? The bag of weave and the nail, and she's going out tonight, and she's not taking you." It's my way of playing on their minds to say, focus. There's enough time for dating, but right now you're in a program that is trying to build you. And if your little $100 that you are making, because you know when I speak fair, and I let them know, us women, we are dainty, we want the nice things. So if I could get all your stipend from you, I'm gonna play with you. You understand?
Let me let me
You need to, huh?
let me jump a little off of that topic there for now. 'Cause when I get to Penny, Penny has been there
I
patiently,
think
and
Leisha had wanted to say something.
yeah, let me
Uh-huh.
let me you were talking about your program under the UDP, and I want to get your opinion about what is going on with the UDP today. Um, because certainly without a viable opposition, we're up shit creek. Are you see anything in sight? Do you see maybe they're having a convention and they're not having a convention? What is going to happen with the United Democratic Party?
Before we get over there, could I ask one
Well,
question on the topic? I wanted to know, like, how many students graduated through the program during the 10-year process, and what is the receptivity rate you have seen on that in terms of going back into that old life? I know you don't have any specific measure, but what do you think? I know that some people may have gone back to some degree.
I'll be honest with you. We've graduated over 1,000 young people from that program, because each intake, it's every 6 months. How the program works is that you're an employer. I would go to you and I would say, Steve, he wants to become a bartender. Would you hire him for 6 months? You don't have to pay him. I will pay him, because the money comes through the government. During that 6 months, I give you a folder, and so it has rules, dress code, phone, punctuality, all of that, because every Thursday when I pick that up, that's how they get paid. There's a deduction. Even if you're 1 minute late, I take $10 out your pay. So it was a strict program. At the end of 6 months, if you see potential in that
Look how you lost internet on that one. Um, Greg, I don't know if you got the answer to your question because I didn't hear that. How many people went back to the lifestyle?
Yeah, I think she was just explaining it, but we lost kind of connection
I
there.
didn't hear that.
Okay, I think she's back.
I lost you all for a moment.
Good, please continue.
So I was saying, at the end of 6 months, if you see potential in that individual, you would send me a letter or ask me to come in and say, I want to hire this person full time. And they become your responsibility. But we still follow up. We still have a bond with that employer, because some of them would want to start to slip back, reach late, that sort of thing. And they would call us and say, can you talk to XYZ, because they're a good worker, but they're messing up, they're slipping. We bring them back in, we do what we have to do, and send them back out. So I have not seen from the group of young people, there's none that I know of who has gone back to prison. Some may not be working, but it's a struggle to get a job. But it does not mean, and probably they may just be trying to sell a little weed on the side to sustain themselves, because there's nothing. But for me to say that they've gone backwards, they haven't proven that to me.
What about the difference between
I'm
the
in
boys and the
contact with
girls?
a
What
lot
about
of-
the difference? What about the difference between the boys and the girls?
It's the same across the board, and most of the young girls are working at call centers. Um, you know, one thing I admire about them is that when they came in, they had kids, and we talked a lot about having children and not being able to maintain them, to give them what they need. And so a lot of them have taken that advice seriously, to hold back from just having kids because I have a man and I want to hold on to him and I'll give him a child. So they've become responsible young people. I want to tell you, the baker for Sugar Fix is a product of the apprenticeship program. All the nice Johnny cakes and pastries and things from Sugar Fix, she's the person who bakes them. You know, that program did wonders for young people. And, I can't tell you that I've seen individuals who have gone backward.
That's a rosy picture, and I guess it makes you feel very good, Gregory. I don't see that though, Dan. In all honesty, if that's the case, then we must really be stupid to not be trying that same thing there all over again. But it doesn't
Do you
seem.
know that you know that Prime Minister Brisenio, while in opposition, went to the apprenticeship program, went up those stairs, met with me personally, and told me that program will continue. I also gave him the opportunity to speak with the youths without me around. I wasn't around. I wanted him to get a true picture of the program without me, that nobody could say, well, Miss D made it say, you better say. No, I gave him the freedom. I remember Micah Gooding had some negative things to say about the apprenticeship program, and I invited him to the office. He went. This is how I operate. I'm an open book. My office is open. So I showed him the payroll. I showed him how everything is set up, how they get paid, everything. Nothing was left out. And he left so impressed with the apprenticeship program. The same for Yaya Marin. She could not believe that my youths were so well mannered and well behaved, and that there was no issue of concern. And she asked me not to be present and did a session with them. She went back regular just to do sessions with them.
All right, all right.
I don't have to lie. I
No, no,
would like you to probably maybe meet them and ask them
I
for
hear you.
themselves. What has
I
the
don't
program
know.
done for you?
I'm left feeling that maybe I missed some years in Belize because I've been here consistently through all that time. And I have not seen a period where there weren't complaints about the situation with crime, where people weren't concerned about safety and troublemakers out there in our society. And
But
yes,
you have to remember there's only a small percentage of the people that is involved in crime. If it's only a thousand people in 20 years, there's much more people out there still acting up. She's only able to capture, the program is only able to capture a percentage of what mischief is going on in the society. So I'm sure it had an impact on those people's lives, those 1,000 people or so that have gone through the program. But then there's 10 or 15,000 out there that didn't go through the program that are in that same time period that continue to be, the societal menace, as we would want to say.
let me just say though that I am disheartened that if you met with such success, a program like that would not have continued. That's all I can say there. Um, you paint a rosy picture. I am not. We're not going into that tonight. We certainly don't have the time. I want you to come back again and make we talk about this some more, so that we could really um,
Well,
get.
maybe you can do some research, and then I'll send you. I can send you some interviews, recordings, media interviews, so that you can play them, um, and then you do your own research on the side. As a matter of fact, the young man that I told you has his associate's degree as a paralegal. You know where he's working today? With the gangs at the LIU. That is to show you the level of which he has reached, that he was once them, and today he works at the LIU, mentoring those individuals. So you can do your research and probably interview a couple of them, and splinter it around and just find out what the program has done for you, and why it has had an
I take
impact
your
that
word for
you
it. I
saw the
just
need to change.
Yeah,
Because
I take your word for it. I just wish that we'd continue those initiatives that are positive in the society, no matter which government is in power. And we see that across the board with gang. We see it with development programs that one government start and the other abandon. We see it in every part of our society that we keep restarting ourselves when we have a change of government, and it provides disservice to the people, the country, and to the individuals.
With
in 2011, G Mike, through Body Brown, and when you talk about the diaspora and how they have tapped into the apprenticeship program, there was a gentleman that Bobby Brown was in contact with who had some connection with Reebok.
Oh, yes.
And he bought Reebok sneakers and shoes for every single one of those apprentices, donated them. It was,
Yeah,
when I
and
think about those
I
things,
hear you. I hear
you
you.
know,
But
you
you
have
know
people
what?
like Miss Hedda Dawn who would ask the people in the diaspora for used clothing or new clothing, and she would send down the barrels for
We,
those individuals. And what they mostly needed were clothing to go to the office, because you're talking about young people who only have the club clothing with the exposure and thing. And the diaspora has played a young lady, Andrea, I can't remember her last name. They'd send down barrels of clothing and things for these young people so that they could have their nice attire to go to work,
let me
you know?
let
I
me
just want to put one plug on the diaspora because they've always come true for Belize, and we have often and always denied our full citizenship rights, and that's consistent across the board with
well,
government.
stop your foolishness. Stop your foolishness. There's nobody not deny we know nothing. Really. You're not
Move
gonna
on, Mr.
run.
Chairman.
You're not gonna run for office until you renounce that renouncement. You
Remove.
went to America and took citizenship and renounced before God that you give up everything that name
Okay,
rights.
we don't need the
Believe.
full
And we
preaching.
still, yeah, but you started it.
I'm just reminding
anyway,
you. I'm just reminding you.
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
anyway,
Oh, God.
gentlemen, we also have another
I
guest on
love
the
your
show, but
show.
before
Thank you very much.
before
Yeah.
we move on, Miss Diane, thanks for coming on the show. But just before we move on to Miss Casasola, I wanted to ask you: do you think that at any point we can, you want this program to be reestablished? One, number two, if it is reestablished,
Yes.
how much of the government do you want participation in the reestablishment? And number three, how do what do you foresee in moving those two things together?
Well, it should be a government initiative, because the government has all the resources. When you talk about education, if you want to educate uh, the citizens of this country, you're going to have to invest in them, and uh, you're gonna have to be able to make sure that, I'm sure you've experienced that once you get a position, everybody wants it because it looks so attractive and it sounds good. But when you get into it and you see the work that has to be done, then you step back. And some people won't step back because you're being paid for the job. My the assistant director was Kevin Cadle. Kevin was making more salary than me. I never went to the government and said, I have to get more than him because I the director. That did not matter to me. I just loved what I was doing. The pay was not an issue. And so you have to make sure that the person you put to run such an initiative has to have that passion. There's nobody who could replace Miss Penny, because when it comes to taking the time to tell you how to breastfeed and stuff, there's none like her. You understand? And so these are the things that you have to look for. Don't
Wait.
just put an initiative and then say, Sarah, because you're a hard UDP or hard PUP, you ain't get the job. And Sarah has no idea how to run such a program.
And probably
We
even the
have to know
willingness
how
to
we
do it.
What you said,
I said, and probably even the willingness to truly do the job.
Yes, and it goes, these kinds of jobs or initiatives for me is not 8 to 5. You have young people who goes to the club Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 2 o'clock in the morning, one of them will call you. Miss, police just hold me and they lock down. Please come talk to them because I never made it do nothing. And I have a rule. Don't call me if you're involved in drugs. Don't call me if you kill somebody. I have rules. But if the police lock you down unjustly, I'll get up my bed out my bed at 2 and I'll go see what's wrong and I'll ask them to release them to
I admire you
I
because
do
you
that.
know what? Everybody will give you their own side of the story. And if you're gonna tell me that you're gonna believe all these young people when they call you and tell you miss I don't do nothing, I don't think I want that job. I
Well,
don't care how much they pay. No.
well, you
Some
see,
people
as
are
a
cynical,
parent, G.
Mr.
Michael,
Right,
Chairman.
right, correct.
as a parent, your first responsibility is to trust your child. Now, when you get to the next source, that then you find out
Your
the real
first
story,
responsibility is to
and this is
trust
how
your
tough
child.
love is. Yes,
Hold up.
you
You
have to trust your child. If not, you lose them. When a child come to you, they come to you to lean on your shoulder. If
yeah,
you
but
refuse
that
them,
one
that
different
is how
thing,
they
man.
end up with gangs.
That one
That is how
different
they
thing.
end up in cliques.
It's much more
No.
complicated
I'm
than that.
saying
You're simplifying a
no.
very
That is where it
complicated
starts.
matter.
No. That is where it starts because if they call me and say, Miss, and if I do nothing, police just put, I will go. But when I reach in front of the police and he says, Miss Finnegan, we're not releasing him because XYZ, I said, you see what I tell you? If
All right,
you get involved in those things, there's a price you have to pay. So I
Diane,
don't babysit.
Diane, we
I
want to
don't
thank you.
babysit
I
big
want
people.
I want you to stick around if you want to, but after this, I will
Yes,
be
I will.
speaking when I talk to Penny, right? Guys, Penny, thank you very much for your patience, Penny. Again, I said both of you ladies could have full up a whole hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and go over time. But
Dan is
I,
remarkable. Remarkable. There's
yeah,
nobody like her.
she
Yeah,
has been working, obviously.
obviously.
Again, I am not convinced though that that has solved any problems that we had, and that's the unfortunate
If
thing.
you no, Mr. Chairman, if you save three, she named 3 people they saved through the process. If you save 3 young people, the
Okay.
program have worked.
Okay, no, that's not what
If
Diana said. Diana said she had 100% success rate, and that she told them that if she got $100,000, she would solve the problem. She got the
Oh,
hundred
no.
thousand
You're
dollars.
no,
talking
no,
about two different
you
things.
yeah.
You're talking about two different things.
Which
Remember,
what
the
was the
hundred
hundred thousand
thousand
dollars
was
gonna
gangs.
gangs? Okay,
Remember, the 100,000 was gangs. The apprenticeship program is a government initiative.
Yeah.
Two
that
different things.
dealt with gang members. That dealt
The
with gang
apprenticeship
members.
program dealt with young people who had
Training.
contact with the law,
Uh-huh.
young people who were affiliated with the gangs
I
but
see.
decided they wanted to transform their lives. And how I got to meet many of the gang leaders is because I had to actually approach them to leave these individuals alone because they want to transform their lives and to focus on another angle.
I
If
got you.
not, they would
I
have
got you.
been
I got you.
killed.
I got you. We could talk about it all
Understand?
night, and please come back
So
again.
it's two different.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. All right. It's still not clear. It's still not clear because you got a reform gang member to work with the gangs and the fellows in the gangs, right? Which was what the program you said was about, and what the $100,000 was gonna do. And you said, "Give me $100,000 and I'm gonna deal with the situation for
But you
them.
think $100,000, even $1 million,
Greg,
could
shut up,
solve
man.
that
Come on,
problem?
hush, hush, hush. Come on.
What's wrong with you?
Come on, man. You're so biased.
You should go to sleep, Mr. Chairman.
You're so biased, man. You're really too biased. You have to just let the. Anyway, all
I
right.
just love you guys.
Please come back again next
We,
time.
we
All
keep
right.
we do this every week.
Let's Penny.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk because you delivered all them baby now, right?
Mhm.
And you we listened to Diane, and Diane is saying about the problems that start, and they start from home. What you're saying that the father being involved would be a part of the solution to the problem? Is that what I got from you then?
According to the studies that I've read
Uh-huh.
and the people who have done the research,
You think fathers should be more involved in the lives, or do you?
I think more opportunity and more. I'll give you a scenario. We have a situation where there are strict visiting hours. I can understand because of protocols and procedures in a unit, they need a space, a time where they can do certain things. I don't think it should exclude the father, and I'll give you the reason why. Nobody lives in a clinic, nobody lives in a hospital. They live in their homes and in their communities. The person who is the best resource to learn to go home with that family is the father of that child. Because
Tell
that's
me-
where they
tell-
live. That's
tell
where
us-
they live. They need all the education they can get, but they need the backup. In other words, their role, learning their role, learning all there is to support that woman and run a home.
Tell us first of all how they are excluding the fathers. Why you think they're excluding the fathers?
Because they have rules like visiting hours. My big beef is fathers should not be excluded from visiting hours. They should
At
have
any time?
access anytime.
But
That-
remember,
Like I tell you, the only one day they stay in a hospital for a natural delivery now.
yeah,
And
but
they-
in a case like the case you made, you got maternity ward.
yes.
Their wife is not the only one in that ward. Doesn't there has to be some time for the
What is the man doing at the side of the bed? It look my wife and the picnic. It look my nobody else wife and picnic.
you don't
Whether
know
it's in
that.
labor, whether it's in labor or after delivery. We have this, and it's an antiquated. I have to tell you, the origin of this thing now, British nonsense. This confidentiality. I used to be reported to the matron every day because I allowed family members to be at that person's bedside during labor and afterwards. You know why? You may have one or two members of staff, but that support system needs to be an individualized thing. You cannot say one midwife or one nurse can take care of 5 patients in labor. The comfort, the massaging, the encouragement of that person in labor depends on that family member. When you exclude a family member, that person is tortured. And I ask you to tell you, and it's across the world everywhere that I have known in the British system, whether it's a Caribbean or Africa or wherever. This is a thing. If you look in every single story, whether that's South Africa or West Africa, this craziness goes on where the father is not there and the woman ball with pain and nobody's there to say, okay, make a massage your head, because the body contains natural enzymes that ease pain.
Let me
Each individual needs somebody by their side during labor.
let me get this right. Let me understand what you're saying. You're
Mm-hmm.
saying that the fathers are not there because they're not allowed to be there, and not because
In
they
some
don't
cases,
want to be.
yes, in some cases, of course.
But how many cases do you think this is it the
And I'll tell you the
majority?
reason why they give it is because we don't have a facility that provides this the what's the word I'm looking for? The privacy. Everybody should be having in a private. We're not got private rooms. We have rooms where the beds are separated by curtains.
Yeah,
Well, heck, since
that's even
since
something.
Bobby King fill up, since King Hatchet was a Hamite, so don't you think by now they could say, well, put on a wall?
You mean for every
So that,
bed?
that family unit can be there without the person in the next bed feeling compromised because one man they in the room.
But you to talk about all security,
But
wars, private wars. I mean, they have those for the wealthy, don't
listen,
they?
the last time I got concerned, but it was a private patient that was denied and told you're a man, you can't enter this room because this is a woman. He was in a private room by himself with the woman. No, you have to go home. And when I wrote them saying, this is not in keeping with our protocols and our mother baby friendly initiative, fathers need to be there. I was told only a woman could stay. And what happened to the gender equity? Children, babies are going home with these parents, they are going home, and those are the people who need to know how to function when they get home.
But
So
when you talk about something
saying
else,
woman function, but we're not tell you how to do it. We're not giving support.
but aren't there classes that men take upon
Who is giving the classes, G. Michael?
Penny?
Yeah, but how many people are being referred to Penny? Not Penny alone. Penny, Yvette, Ronald, we have men in the classes because men need men's support. But I'm saying the private hospitals are doing it. It's only the public hospitals that are, and I can't talk about around the country, I only know of one. I know the Carl Hushner has stumbling blocks and gatekeepers that prevent that father from feeling as part of the team that takes care of that woman and baby.
But I don't know.
Men want to, I mean,
but you're not being fair, though.
I sent you the documentary. I don't know if you look on it, but those documentaries are made to give men a voice.
Yeah, but we don't have the space. We don't have the kind of
That's
hospital.
an excuse. That's an excuse. There's absolutely no reason. Why?
That's another issue, though, Penny. That is side preventing the father from being with the children. And I'm
not talking about after they go home. I'm talking about when they come in.
When they're giving birth.
There is a moment in time when that birthing experience is happening. And what happens then happens no other time in life.
Yeah. I think we're talking about the ideal situation and what the
preferred. No, we're talking the need situation.
Yeah. The preferred. I'm
not talking about ideal. I'm talking about the need situation.
Yes, but we don't have all the environmental spaces and stuff.
Because we choose not to.
Yes, I agree with you.
There's absolutely no reason for it not to happen. It's an excuse.
I agree with you. I agree that we do need to make we're building new hospitals now, right? We're building a new primary.
Put a wall instead of a curtain.
Exactly. We're building a new hospital in Belmopan, and I'm saying those are
being made over and over. Here you are saying, okay, Penny, come in and teach. Penny, come in and teach, but you don't practice what Penny teach. And I'm teaching the world standards. I'm teaching a safety standard. I'm teaching so that when those families go home, and I'll give you an example. One of the private hospitals has us in male and female, preparing their families, male and female, during the pregnancy. And we go in several times a year. And we're also on call for those families after they deliver. Now and again, we get a call. You know why? The foundation was laid. And these families have learned their role. They understand about
that is true. The private hospital.
The biggest need of a woman is to get a baby to latch on, suck milk without pain. All right, that can be learned even before. That can be learned before, but certainly at birth, so you have the staff that know that backup system is there. And you have a community support system where you can pick up a phone, use WhatsApp to make sure that you have a follow-up, a reinforcement of what you learn.
I hear you. You're talking about now the private wars that does all of this.
I'm talking about every, I can tell you the standard, the written statement in the standard. Every hospital that provides maternity and newborn care must have I don't care what part of the world you're there. That's the standard.
Must have.
No exceptions. Must have what I'm just describing.
You talk about the wall that can give the privacy.
Prenatal care must include education for the family.
Well, yeah, I think
Interpartal
that
care
would be
during the birth experience should be the family. And I don't know any situation where there's not a father. Father might not be physically present because of a job or something, but there are opportunities when that man can come in, learn all there is to learn, so that when they go home, they follow through. Doesn't mean that they're not going to call, doesn't mean they're not going to run into hiccups and need reinforcement. I'm just saying prevention is better than cure. And from my experience, the ones who have had the opportunity to have that preparation during the pregnancy is there at delivery, do extremely well at home.
Let me ask you a question. After all the babies that you delivered, did you ever lose the awe and the wonder of seeing this new
I'll
child?
tell you, the first time I saw delivery, I burst into tears because I never knew what to expect. And I had the opportunity. It was so emotional. And to this day, I pray over every delivery. To this day, I cannot tell you, it's like a wow. And can you imagine? I remember a situation where the father didn't want to go into the delivery room, and I implored him. He was Spanish speaking, the moment is Spanish speaking, and I begged and begged and begged, and he finally got in. He came in. And I said, you don't have to see anything you don't want to see, because most of them have their reasons for not wanting to be present because they think it's going to be uncomfortable for them. But if you teach them how to make that woman comfortable, they focus on that and it works. So here's this man who said, no, but all right, you implore me, I'm going in. I mean, I got so much hug and kiss from a man or nurse. If I had missed this, I don't know, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. Thank you very much for. He looked, I mean, he was saying he didn't want to see anything, but what he was doing, he changed his focus from holding the mother to watch the baby being born, and he was so fascinated. Now there are situations where a woman does not want that.
Did you
The protocol says it is a woman's choice. She chooses who she wants with her, or if she wants someone with her. But we are saying that on paper, but we're not doing it in reality.
Did you lose any babies, and what was that experience like?
Horrible. Okay, I mean, I'll never forget those cases, because it was a case of a woman living in Gales Point, being brought in by the rural health nurse, and the baby was dead inside of her. She had a condition, I think she had fibroids or something, some complication, and it happened over and over. And so I decided this has got to, we got to do something about this. So I implored them to stay in town with their relative so that she could be monitored more carefully. She was admitted, strike a deal with the obstetrician. She'll stay in hospital till this baby is born to save this one. Somebody called along, sent her home. Within hours, baby dead inside the baby's at baby 3. I went to Holland Memorial Hospital and I struck a deal with the obstetrician there. And he agreed we got to do something better. And he allowed that man from Gales Point to come and build fence, whatever he could do to earn a living, to give some contribution, not the full fee. And that's how that lady ended up having like 2 or 3 children, because somebody took interest, like Diane said, somebody has to take the interest to walk it through to its end result. There has to be somebody who is willing to do that, to help out somebody who is in need.
Yeah, tell me, with your experience in the whole childbirth matter, what's your stance on abortion?
You said to me that you would not ambush me. That was your promise to me at MAPIM. You know, they invite me here for the ambushment.
But I don't think I want ambush. I think I want.
What is an ambush?
Because fair question. Listen. It's a big part of the
I have an opinion, but I don't wish to discuss it.
Okay, and that's all right. That's
I'll
but
tell you
so-
why. I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
It's not a hard and fast situation where cut and dry situation.
Right.
My thought is, what happens to those ladies who go into spontaneous miscarriage? You are telling me the doctor cannot intervene to save this woman's life?
But there has to be red lines. There has to be guidelines that we follow, and there are exceptions to the rule. But as a rule, because there are many people who are promiscuous, I could tell you, I really am dead set against it. It is a big issue, in particular right now in the elections
Oh
in the
yes,
United
absolutely,
States.
absolutely.
So I don't want to issue
And I
that
think
I think is,
they're using a title without giving the substance of the issue, because I am saying there are birth control methods that people could use if they don't want a pregnancy.
okay. So, all right, Diane, do you have do you have an opinion on this matter as far as the matter of abortion? A woman's right to do what she wants with her body. Is that
Yeah, I think that if for some reason she feels that she cannot handle bringing a child to life, to on earth, um,
she should have the right to abort?
that's her choice.
She could,
That's her
she could have it
choice.
adopted, but
It's her body.
it could have it
and-
adopted, but and sometimes it's a pregnancy that she was raped.
Well, yeah. So there are instances now. Let's be real. But even so, did you know there are some famous people who were, as a result of rape, that where the woman went ahead and had the child, and the person grew up. I forgot that there's a famous one that I had and but it slips in my mind. But I don't know that we should be so flippant about the whole issue, because yes, a woman's body is hers, but that life that she carries within her is not hers. That's a product of two people coming together, and that child has its own individual personality and rights and privileges, don't you think? I mean, that is my opinion, and I see it. I think that issue that we ought to discuss more and should not be afraid to talk about it.
Not afraid. I just some of things are my business. I mind that, and your business you mind.
No, I'm not. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not saying
Okay.
you're afraid.
Okay.
You just rather not do it, and that's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Somebody here says, should a man have a say in whether a woman aborts a child or not? And you now, Penny, are saying that the man ought to be involved every step of the
Absolutely.
way,
Absolutely.
from
Absolutely.
conception, because he should be there also taking care of his woman
be a-
while she's pregnant.
Exactly.
So maybe he should.
And if possible, like what the gentleman or the individual asked just now, if a man, I feel that if the man is persuading her to not have an abortion, then he should seek a third party, a mediator, to intervene, to talk to her,
Counseling.
because
Counseling. Yeah.
because what is her reason for wanting to abort the child?
Sometimes it's panic.
Is that enough
Yeah,
of a reason? Yeah, she should have panicked before she laid down with the man and had sex, don't you think?
Yeah,
Well,
but,
let me
you
let
see,
me
it's
just
like
say
you're
this.
trying to.
Anyway, I mean, we are.
Women in labor who are moaning and groaning and expressing their discomfort.
Right.
You know, me they get there and I may say that the circumstances were different. You know, don't be telling people things stupidness like that, because
Well,
it is
I am not going to tell a woman in pain anything like that, man.
No, I'm just saying you cannot say what a woman feels before she has intercourse, sexual intercourse,
Uh-huh.
and how she feels after she finds out she's pregnant. She might have had it with a married man,
Uh-huh.
and the man is abandoning her,
And that's a good reason
and
to
she
you
needs to go to counseling. She needs counseling.
and that's a good
Because-
reason to have an abortion.
No. She
But
goes
that's
to
what you're
counseling
saying,
to
Penny.
find out No, that's not what I'm saying. You jump to conclusion now, G. Make a chastise you.
Let her finish to say
Exactly.
what she
I
wants
am
to say.
saying any woman who is pregnant should go to counseling. If it is an unplanned pregnancy, now, I'm not saying unwanted, I'm saying unplanned. Unplanned pregnancies bring a lot of stress into the life of a woman and a
Right.
family.
Right.
In years gone by, people used to send their children away, have the child adopted, then the
Right.
woman regret having having the child adopted, but had no say in the matter. The father not have no say, the mother not have no say, the family send them away when she needs the nurturing more than any time in her life to be encouraged to go through the pregnancy, even though she wants to give up the baby, but you have to counsel somebody during a experience like that.
So we're talking about something else here, because yes, there has to be counseling. If a woman is stressed out, is having a child, and has having doubts, there ought to be places where she can go to get some counseling. But outside of that, where the question is she supposed to be able to just say, "Listen, I'm stressed out. Let me have an abortion," and this is what it seems the bill is
There
about that
are
they're
there
taking
are
over.
unfortunately some people who use it as a birth control method, which is very unfortunate.
And unfortunate, but not immoral. Not certainly not illegal.
I never gone a no cross to save no souls. I am a Christian. However, as I said, I don't sit in judgment of people.
Yeah. I'll only add to that conversation that I believe that it is a woman's right to make that decision. And if they are married, it is the family's right to come to that conclusion. But ultimately, if the woman makes that decision, it is her body. That's how I view that
Well,
particular.
she
Yeah,
may not be married. She may be in a what you call it,
Well,
marriage.
I mean, that's why I said family. That's why I said family. I
but,
meant
but,
if
but,
she had the support of a partner, right?
Gregory, you're such a wuss, Gregory. Really, you
No, I
go with
believe
that.
it is a
How
woman.
is
What
that
makes
being
you a
a
wuss?
wuss? It's his
That
opinion.
you
No,
need to go to sleep, G Mike.
you know
It's
what?
past your bedtime tonight, man.
No, yeah, okay, that's your opinion, and that's all right. Um, at the end of the day, I don't. I see it as a topic that has to be discussed, and I don't think that we tend to run from it, and we don't want to face it frontal. And
I
then we
told
have
you it's a
people.
woman's choice.
You're
And then
saying,
on the other hand, we have
but
That's his
what?
situations
decision.
where everybody wants you to have their opinion and not
Yeah.
listen to yours.
True.
That's where we are right now. It is a woman's choice. It is her body, and she has the ultimate decision making. We
So
hope that in a
you don't
family
you don't
environment,
think that that child has any right at all?
no, the child does not have any right
I
when it
see. All right. Well,
concerns.
that's clear. That's clear. That clears it up. That's all right. Let's go on. Let's go
What
on.
It's
right?
the
What
same
right
way,
does the
G Mike.
child
If a
have?
child is here, hold on a quick second, Gregory. It's the same. If you look at this perspective, it's like when we're growing up in our household, who have rights in the house? Your ma, your pa. They make the choice. So in this case, the woman, a young woman, regardless whether she's married, unmarried, you guys already know that I was raped when I was 13. Part of the consequence of me being raped was to not was a childbearing. I ended up losing the opportunity to bear a child. So for me, this is a very, very hot situation and topic. I don't care if you roll your eyes, but it's the truth. I need to have the choice to be able to make decisions for my body. I cannot allow you or somebody else to make that choice. You don't walk in my shoes. You don't have my emotional grounding, my psychological understanding, and the
You,
behaviors that come with it. There's a lot of things that goes on.
Yeah, you
Yes,
know
I
what?
get that I understand that people make mistakes too. But let me deal with my God with those mistakes.
Exactly.
I don't need you
Exactly.
or
I
nobody else
I don't
to
hold
judge
up, but
me.
sum it up, because I don't walk in your shoes, but as an individual, I walk in the shoe of every child that can be born and should be born. How about that? Every child, because you, Gregory, would not have wanted to be aborted as a child and lose your life.
Of
Nobody
course
would
not.
want to. But then, so why would we be so flippant and say, you know what, if you don't want to pick me, just throw away, man?
No, that's
That,
not
Yeah,
that
no,
no,
seems
that's
that's
some,
not
not.
the,
I
that's
don't
not
think
the,
that's what's
that's
being
not what
said.
anybody is
Because
that's
saying.
there
the
are
baseline,
women.
No,
the
no, I'm
that's the
saying a
attitude.
woman has
Michael,
the right.
Michael, calm down. There
I
are
say a
women
woman
who
has the
regret
right.
having
It's not,
abortions. There are
yeah.
women who
She
seriously
doesn't
regret
have a
having
right. She has
abortions.
a choice, but it's not the right. The right. You nobody can determine that you have a right to end a life. I don't think so, and that's my opinion. Anyway,
We're
so
all entitled to one.
Yeah,
indeed,
exactly.
I would hope so. No.
It's a hot topic, and it's very challenging to have people all believing in the same aspect of the topic.
Yeah, that's
And
correct.
everybody would like for their opinion to be taken more seriously than the other person's opinion.
Not
And
necessarily.
No, I just want my opinion to be
We respect
respected.
your opinion,
That's
but
it.
it goes both ways. Respect somebody else's
the fact
opinion
that you
too.
state your opinion is respected because it's
Yeah,
allowed to be spoken.
yeah,
So, but
yeah,
that don't mean that everybody's going to agree with it.
exactly.
I simply don't agree with that. I do not believe that it should be just something that is looked at as matter of factly as it is. You know what? A woman wants to have abortion, it's her right. She should be able to have it. I don't think so because as a
So,
human
this, so,
race,
the, so somebody should force her for not having an abortion.
there-
Should stop her.
excuse me,
Someone should stop her from not having an abortion.
I believe it should not be encouraged.
I don't say anybody's encouraging it. I don't
Nobody
think
can stop you if you want to do that because you know I really wouldn't want to go through this, but I heard of a lady drink one bucket of paint because she wanted to have
God
an
have
abortion.
mercy.
How about that? Is that all right?
Well, that lady
So,
needed water.
something else was wrong with her.
Obviously,
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
and we
See, that's the
agree.
kind of person that Penelope is talking about. Somebody that needs counseling,
Yes.
somebody that is unaware of what choices and options are available to
So
her.
maybe that ought to be one of the choices. You get pregnant, you need to get, and I've always felt that there should be a class for first time mothers. That
Every
is a
mother,
class
not
that
the
we
first
need.
time, every pregnancy you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
I
then
know
how
two
we
alike.
Well,
They got five
well, to
children
be
all alike.
honest, there ought to be a class before the
Exactly.
pregnancy to educate
Exactly.
young
Exactly.
girls on
Yes.
That's
and
right.
young
That's
men
right.
what
That's
they're
right.
getting into. But
Mm-hmm.
if there's someone who drank a
Paint.
bottle of paint or whatever, who knows what emotional challenges that
Yes.
individual is facing when a
you
woman
know
makes a decision to abort a child. I don't think that they they just woke up this morning and say, I don't want a child. I think it comes
but
with different emotional challenges and decisions that they had to make and reasons why they feel they would not be able to carry this child to
Domestic
full term.
violence,
but that seems to be what we're
incest,
promoting
Exactly.
though.
lots of reasons why.
Yeah, exactly.
There's it's not easy, or I should say, G Mike, it's not fair to say that, or to condemn a woman because she made a choice that
You
is
know what?
best suited for
I think
herself.
I think
You
it's an
know,
error to make laws to make you
Regulate
a
morality.
criminal because you don't agree with it.
Exactly.
I think and to have your neighbor spy on you and tell on you, and then you have to run to an
You know,
extreme
I
to
don't
get
see
your
where there should.
attention.
I don't know. I don't see where there should need to be laws. Why would
Crazy,
there need to be
craziness,
laws for
craziness.
something as common sense as that? But we're so eager to please the whims and fancies of anybody that makes a little noise, that we tend to support anything that comes along. I
No.
don't
The
think
woman
we should.
could have been raped, could have been raped by her father,
Yes, there's
her
all of that.
her brother.
But do we form policy based on the lowest common denominator? How many people get pregnant through rapes? Certainly
A
not the
high
majority.
percentage. A
Too
high
many,
percentage.
one that too much.
Are you serious? Then we need to do something about rapes,
One
don't
that
you
too
think?
much.
Don't you think that rape that the thing we should do something about, and
Of
not
course.
allowing people to just have abortion because they think that that's something when they want to do because they're your body? It
But you know
makes
what
no
is
sense.
interesting? It might be slightly different. There was a time when schools were not allowing girls to continue the pregnancy and go to school.
True.
At a time when she most needed that foundation, that educational foundation to launch her into a career.
Right.
Never once did those schools or these laws talk about the man. A woman does not get pregnant on her own. And you wonder, this gender equity issue is not only pertaining to one gender, it's both genders.
Mhm.
Responsibility is on both sides.
Mhm. I hear what you're saying, but that completely different topic, because there are questions there too. How does a young, and you talk about the need of mothers to be there with their children and the fathers at for how long? How long can she stay home with that child before she has to go back to school?
Oh, I'm glad you bring that up. You talk the
Right.
story now.
Mhm.
Um, the mother's body goes back to its pre-pregnant condition as much as possible within 6 weeks, and that's when she has a normal vaginal delivery. With C-sections, it's a little longer, maybe 3 months. The protocol, the standard, national, international, regional, anyone you want to take it, says the baby must be exclusively breastfed for 6 months.
Mhm.
Now, if she's going back to work, she will have to express the milk and leave the milk with a babysitter to feed the baby. That's a challenge for some women. Bear in mind now, this woman doesn't live on her own. She needs the help. Why is the father not being given paternity leave to match that? Jamaica legislated in January of last year that a man should get four 20 calendar days, which is a month, roughly a month. Yet when we as a group bring that up to the Labor Advisory Board, I mean, it was like kick them under the table and cuss them, mommy. The amount of people who are objecting to that. And I'm saying, here you're talking about a situation where Diane may not have had the challenges that she so passionately
Yes.
responds to
They promote
had
it.
it been done right at the beginning.
Yes.
What are some of the reasons why they objected?
Oh, that man going out there, they got baby all over the place. I mean, and it was like the smallest thing they would find. And there will be people who do that, but why am I denying the best care for the majority because of a few?
Now you see the point I was making earlier. The same thing I say. You can't formulate policy on the lowest common denominator.
Yeah,
You have to look on the whole picture
yeah.
and see what is better for
But
the
I am
majority.
saying, I'm saying we give men, some of us, some companies, I think in the government they get 1 week before the woman could raise up her head after that delivery. 1 week done pass. I mean,
I,
come
I,
on.
I'm saying this though as a man, Penny. How then do you deal with men who really just don't want to be involved? And you're gonna
I have
be
met one. I have not met one in all my life, in all my years.
you have not
I
met a man
started-
that doesn't want to.
Never. It's the men. I'm telling you, if you had gone through the documentary I sent you, what inspired this whole thing was because the men are saying we are being ignored. We want to help. We just don't understand what we need to do to help.
And
And
all
then
men,
they're saying, with the help you have given us, we now understand. And what the network that has been built in the community is a collaboration between the
And you're saying all men. You have not met one man that did not want.
never. Have you?
We not got no problem, man.
I'm
We're a wonderful society. What we the real about? What we the other talk about?
not enough. I don't meet all the men that existed. I'm talking on behalf of the men who don't have a voice, and I'm talking about the ones who want to be involved, who are being denied the opportunity to be there for that delivery, for example.
And
You
that
know, there's such a thing as a birth plan. Everybody who I have the opportunity to walk beside with the team of people, and as I tell you, there's a man, Ronald Stewart, is the man in the group, in the team, that teach families the importance of the man's role and the man's presence and caring and skin to skin and all of the things that the woman can do, the man can do, because she can express the milk and he can feed the baby, her express breast milk. So he can feed that baby. It may not be coming from his body. Right there, it came initially from his body, but for the moment. And I'm saying that all those men, especially with cases where the women have like engorged breasts and they're in pain and like, oh God, what do I do? I mean, in the documentary, one of this man, Mr. Kanaki, say, what do I do? I feel like run and ball. Men have postpartum blues and depression, just like women.
So
When
how
they're
does that work?
denied.
How you say that he feeds the baby with the breast milk
Yes,
just through the bottle? You know, again, bottle and
spoon or cup.
all right.
Babies,
So
babies drink just like any mammal.
how do you encourage women to drain their breasts of the milk?
You cannot drain the breast of milk. The milk, I can tell you, it's a synchronized story. There are two portions of the pituitary gland right under the brain. One section is making milk and one section is letting out milk. As fast as you move the milk, more is made. It's
So
under the control of your hormones. Your nutrition plays a real important part because the milk is made from the circulating nutrition from what a woman takes in. You have to teach a woman nutrition.
I'm not laughing at what you're saying. Now, this guy right on the screen that men are now trying to get pregnant. All right, I understand.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
but there are women who pump their breasts, and you're saying they can't pump all. I understand that. It continues to make more.
Yes,
Fine.
the more you
But-
the more it's a demand and supply.
But is it
Demand and
encouraged?
supply.
Is that encouraged or discouraged?
What? I'm
The-
sorry, I
the
don't understand.
extracting of the milk.
Oh,
from
it's
the
encouraged
breast.
because women
Of
are
course it's encouraged.
women are separated from their babies due to work or school or illness.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So-
Yes, it's encouraged.
So the breast milk is more important than the feeding of the child from the breast.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you cannot achieve baby at the chest or breast, because there's a new politically correct way, everything I leave political correctness, and so they call it chest feeding rather than breastfeeding. But it's
Oh my! Yeah, seriously.
I'm serious. Yeah, it may not
Cancer
be that
culture.
we might not understand it, but to some people it means something. So we do slash, right? Breast slash chest feeding.
Uh-huh.
That woman may not be an option for her. So we have to teach and we have
You
to
see.
support other ways of getting that mother's human milk into the baby.
You see why I get in a trouble? Because me wouldn't just accept that without an argument. Why the hell you mean breast as a chest as opposed to breast? Well, I mean, seriously, how stupid do we get? And then we just accept it and say, you know what? All right, we're going to use it
Yeah.
because we said we want it. So we put on slash.
Is that the process of just because the baby is being cuddled? Why they call it
The baby does best when it's held skin to skin
That's-
between
that's
the
the
mother's
point.
breasts.
That's the point. Yes.
That stimulates milk production. So,
And also
the
bonding with
essential thing
the
about
child.
holding the baby skin to skin from the very birth, the baby is coming from inside you, is learning the outside of you.
Yes.
Now, food that was readily available from the water the baby is swimming around in, he drinks that. He comes outside, the pigmented area around the nipple smells the same way the baby gravitates, baby runs with smell. crawls up your belly on his own free will, her will, latches on. And from that moment on, that baby will spontaneously latch on. The longer we put a spoke in the wheel and delay that first feed, the more problems you have.
Ladies, thank you so
Miss
much.
Penny,
Yes, darling.
Michael, let me just share my
ahead,
own
yeah.
experience. I could not handle that breastfeeding thing. I was a modern mom, and I felt that if I breastfeed, my breast was going to drop, and I
Yeah,
was just one of those
yeah,
silly
yeah.
young moms.
The teaching
And
wasn't
so what
in
I
those
did,
days, though. In those days, we weren't doing a good job supporting you. Let's be honest.
yeah, and
But
so
do they
what I
do
did,
they
I
drop?
We
Do
have
they
to
drop
take
as a result?
responsibility for what we did not do, and we did not support you.
they don't G Mike, but that was my thought because
Yeah.
I didn't want anybody latched on and hanging on mine and
Yeah,
letting it drop.
yes.
And so what I did, I got mine dried up, the milk dried up
Yeah, if you
in
don't
my
use it, you
breast.
lose it. That's true. Very true.
Yes. So, of course, you go to the doctor to get that done. And so I never breastfed. But with my son,
Yeah.
because he was a preemie and weighed only 3 pounds, I had to
Express.
express the milk and take it to the
Give it to him.
hospital
And he did
for him
extremely
to.
well, right?
Yes, but as soon as he came out and he was well,
Uh-huh.
that was over for me because I just could not
You
handle
went right
that
back to
pumping
that
thing. And
stretchy
my
breast
husband-
thing. Yeah. That's there's
That's
a whole
lot
section.
of-
There's a whole section on that topic
And
about myths. That's one of the myths.
that could
It's a myth.
open up a whole nother conversation.
But it's a myth.
Yeah,
we're not
that
going
was
to.
lack of guidance,
Yeah.
lack
We're not
of
going to.
Yes.
education.
There are
And
so
I just
many
did
myths out
me.
there concerning this issue. And
Yes.
that's one of the reasons
Yeah.
why we continue to do this community teaching and available
Yeah.
like you did.
It's
We
crucial.
walked a similar road, but maybe not to the same drum beat. Around the clock, call me.
Listen,
So I don't want you to say, I never call you, call me, think you're asleep. No, call me. Call me because I decide to go back to sleep.
I'm gonna take Gregory's advice. I go to sleep.
But 9 o'clock not gone and we still talk.
Yeah, I know, right? So really, two and have to come back, man. Please, all right? Come back. We have to talk about both of these issues some more and get some clarity on the whole situation.
I hope you to know Ronald was listening in.
Right?
And
and then
what
I
I do,
never
G.
want
Michael,
that.
I will send you some videos of past interviews on what was happened, the whole peace treaty and that sort of thing of all the gangs. I don't know how you can't recall when we walked all the gangs together, did that peace walk.
I remember that. Yeah.
That was the beginning
What year was it?
of 2017.
17, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was the beginning of them actually putting down their guns and wanting to transform their lives. But and I would love to come back again, G Mike, and maybe Chester or Nuri could be on it also to talk about that phase and what happened, because it was a great initiative that really worked. But things happen.
Chester agreed to be on. He disappointed us. He decided not. Well, he didn't talk to us, so never. But we were looking forward to talking to him about some of these issues. Maybe another time we could do it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity, because if I don't have no other thing to say, I said both my men and hold your baby skin to skin. Don't make nobody tell you how to spoil your baby. Put on down. That's a lie. The baby needs to signal your body to make milk as the baby grows through.
So if the baby like honey, okay.
The hand, the baby likes breast.
Breast is
If
best,
and
they
the
say.
breast makes more milk, and the baby programs
too.
the production of milk by being there. It's like you to put in your order for Christmas and Easter and Valentine and all of that. The baby put in the order at the breast.
Yeah.
Penny.
And that is so important, so that the baby growth and development depends on growth spurts, baby growth, and leave it to where you then know.
When I talk about you, Mr. C Smoke.
You, yeah, me too, dude. You open so many doors to so many other discussions now, and you the type of no ambush. You the try trick man into say something where you could jump on about.
I'm a man.
Miss Penny.
I'm a friend of a man. Yes, dear.
The only thing I would love for you to help Belize get rid of is that word theater. Why they keep calling that room theater like women are so dramatic? It is yes, it is a
Oh,
dramatic.
they're not.
My patient
terrifying
smiled to deliver. I
experience.
said to my patient, I bet you I'll make her laugh this baby out.
Which is it is theatrical.
Ronald teaches the dollar wine. The dollar wine favor delivery progress because it stimulates oxytocin, which is the hormone of love, in the pelvis, and the baby comes out easier when the mother is relaxed and dancing. Dollar wine,
Right.
Listen,
pelvic rock.
right? We know they're gonna serious tag team. Why not just make Ronald push your face on TV?
Oh, Ronald, come.
Come, Ronald. They listen quietly in the Senate. I figure I'm gonna jump in and give me a hand.
I was not invited to be the guest, but I was here to be the tech
support as usual.
He set up the studio over here.
You listen. That you two guys are wonderful. Two of do some amazing work. Big up every time, Ronald. And Ronald and Bladona, I know always in line to do that. This
30 years or something.
Unsung hero, my brother. Thank you, Ronald, for everything. Penny, thanks a lot, Diane.
Thank you
so much
very
for
much for
coming
the
and
opportunity.
joining us.
Blessings.
And I
Ladies, see you soon at the show again.
And she's
got-
going
you
to
got-
wait for she to take.
Oh gosh.
Look, I see the baby, that white baby. Look at a Palestinian baby.
No. My baby say, listen, I am sunburnt. My baby look
Okay.
just like me.
The Gali color, yeah.
That's right.
Thank you
Thanks
all
so
for
much,
joining us.
guys.
And thanks everyone for
And
joining
when
us.
she might not tell you, he's my cousin, you know.
Next
You know,
week.
my good cousin.
Next week. That's why you can lecture me like that, right? Same time, same place. Next week, Wednesday, people. Thank you very much. See you. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
With a coffee and with I am a royal coffee. My style sticky like
I know
coffee.
it, I know over time.
You could have seen me ugly, but alone pretty girl stay to chase me. Royal coffee and my style sticky like toffee. How could you call me ugly when alone pretty girl stay to chase me? Minor, tell you things we want make you catch feeling. Your mere existence, you want left to examine. Ebenezer me gone, me know for the feel dumpling. Believe woman, sweet like you pumpkin. See me, but you don't know me. Confident, say that me bossy. Inquisitive, you call me nosy. Defend me rights, holler at me chancy. Me know this show no mercy, we don't take no back chat from nobody. You know how feel like me, but you must respect me. Tell this more. I am a royal coffee. My style sticky like toffee. You coulda holla say me ugly, but alone pretty girl stay to chase me. Me cool and deadly. Machine gun Kelly. Machiavelli. Stay ready like Freddy. We have woman plenty. Woman the city, woman the country. You coulda act like you no want believe me. Ask Dwight, that me Bali. I am a royal coffee. My style sticky like toffee. You coulda holla say me ugly, but alone pretty girl stay to chase me. Royal coffee, and my style sticky like toffee. How could you call me ugly when alone pretty girl stay to chase me? Lot of sexy woman come out of the valley. Me like the way the body move when them the party. And a bitch white and Alta Leslie. And the one name Gilda Courtney. Dano Jam.
Run it. Run it. Respect on to the one, smoke it on. Smoke it at Studio One. there again. There we go. Oh, damn yo. It's on and popping. We keep the crowd clapping. Sexy ladies up on the dance hall. Keep moving and stopping. Crystal by the gal. On ears we blowing. We got the rhyme for your mind. Smooth sheet talking. It's on and popping. We keep the crowd clapping. Sexy ladies up on the dance hall. Keep moving and stopping. Crystal by the gal. On ears we blowing. We got the rhyme for your mind. Smooth sheet talking. We keep dance all cock long after dark. Now watch your face, you know we dress sharp. Khaki suit and gloves. Empress love how we park. With a frat with a big white shot.